When you think of aquatic wildlife species, you may imagine whales swimming through the ocean, or a turtle resting on a river log. The reality is that there is a wealth of wildlife that lives in a variety of bodies of water. A wetland is flooded by water for at least a portion of the year. Riparian areas occur adjacent to wetlands along the transition between the flooded area and the adjacent uplands. Wetlands and associated riparian areas are important because they host a large percentage of biodiversity on many global landscapes, including a range of plant and animal species associated with wet conditions or standing water. In the United States, wetlands shelter more than 1/3 of the country's threatened and endangered species, according to the Environmental Protection Agency. Wetlands provide habitat for a great variety of wildlife species. Many animals require standing water for a portion or all of their life cycle, like amphibians that use them as breeding and egg deposition sites. Wetlands also provide freestanding drinking water for many wildlife species. Riparian areas adjacent to wetlands attract a diversity of wildlife because of their unique characteristics. Riparian plant communities typically have high plant diversity and diverse plant structure. They are highly productive areas because of fertile soil that is deposited from uplands. Riparian forests provide thermal cover for many terrestrial species because the water in wetlands buffers against extreme temperatures in the winter and summer. Because riparian forests tend to not be heavily managed, there is abundant dead wood which provides food and cover for a diversity of wildlife, including cavity nesting birds that use snags. Riparian forests provide natural travel corridors through landscapes, especially in agricultural and urban landscapes where habitat is highly fragmented. Watersheds have a dendritic pattern of connected streams that facilitate movement for animals through the inhospitable uplands. Riparian forests also help maintain habitat for aquatic wildlife in the wetlands. The leaves from canopy trees provide the main energy source in small streams. The leaves get broken down into a lectinous material by aquatic macroinvertebrates, which in turn are food for vertebrate species such as salamanders or fish. The complex root systems in trees and other plants stabilize the soil along stream banks and prevent erosion. This root system, along with vegetation and leaf litter, help filter sediments and nutrients from getting into streams from upland disturbances. Sediment, better known as dirt or soil, is the worst pollutant in streams and fills the interstitial spaces between the pebble substrates that are used by vertebrate and invertebrate wildlife like salamanders. The interstitial spaces are lost when riparian vegetation is removed and sedimentation occurs. The loss of riparian forest also removes the leaf litter input and the shading that comes from tree canopies. This causes stream temperatures to rise when riparian forests are removed. Examples of wildlife species that are associated with wetlands and streams are the spotted salamander, dusky salamander, wood frog, great blue heron, southern leopard frog, Canada goose, mallard, queen snake, and painted turtle. Semi-aquatic wildlife require both the wetlands and the adjacent uplands to complete their annual life cycle. One group of semi-aquatic species spends most of the year in the water but moves onto land to nest during the breeding season. The other group spends most of the year on land but moves into the water to reproduce during the breeding season. Ephemeral wetlands, often referred to as ephemeral pools, are especially valuable habitat for many amphibian species. These small wetlands dry and fill with water periodically. Vernal pools are filled in the spring, and autumnal pools hold water in the fall. Ephemeral pools generally do not contain fish, and therefore serve as important breeding sites for semi-aquatic amphibians that require relatively predator-free pools. To protect the ecological value of wetlands and streams, managers can establish protected buffers in the adjacent riparian areas. Vegetation in the buffers is retained to protect the wetland or stream from the impacts of adjacent human activity. Buffers prevent sedimentation, maintain stream shading, and provide habitat for semi-aquatic and terrestrial wildlife. Buffer widths are often regulated based on a minimum to protect water quality, which is approximately 15 meters. However, managers can set larger widths based on a variety of factors, including stream order, counter or slope, soil type, adjacent land use, or the habitat requirements of focal wildlife species. Within a forest management plan, managers can establish a stream-side management zone, which is a specific type of buffer that designates a specific level of protection for riparian areas within the plan. The next time you walk along a stream or a lake shore, be sure to remember that these wetlands and the adjacent riparian plan communities are rich in biodiversity and are vital to countless wildlife species. Because of this, they should be treated with great care during any land management activity and should always be a conservation priority.